You are going to love this conversation with Bella. She talks about how she prepares for big shows using visualization, staying focused by being away from her phone for hours at a time. Could you do the same? Oh my gosh. And the challenges and the amazing way she's developed adaptability and mental skills in her riding from showing different horses, different circuits. There's so much you are going to learn from this conversation, and I'm so grateful that she came on the podcast today. If you come away thinking that you want to get better at this, and I know you will, you've got to check out my free training, the Ride Like a Pro Masterclass, where I break down how to train your mind like the best riders in the world so you can show up confident, focused, and ready to perform. Check the show notes for the link for your access. And know that I have something big coming soon, Mental Gym for Equestrians, where we take everything we talk about today and turn it into daily training that rewires your mind for confidence and peak performance, is officially next cohort launching in 1 month. You have very limited opportunities to join this live training program. It's been a year since I've run a cohort because you get such in-depth attention and details in this. So message me at Nicole Burnett Mental Coach on Instagram to save your seat. But for now, grab your free training from the link in the show notes and enjoy this fabulous conversation with Bella. Welcome to the Resilient Reiner, the premier podcast focused on mental performance for equestrians and improved horse show performance. Whether you're a rookie reiner or a seasoned competitor, this show is for riders who want to take their skills to the next level and achieve their full potential in the show ring. I'm Nicole Burnett, and I'm a master mindset coach who's obsessed with helping you achieve all those horse dreams you always thought were impossible. Join me each week to develop a show-ready mindset and gain the competitive edge you need to compete with confidence. Welcome to the Resilient Reiner Podcast. I'm so excited to welcome Bella Sobral to the podcast today. She is a junior rider. She shows NRHA, AQHA, AHA, and the Interscholastic Equestrian Association as well. She competes in reining, ranch riding, trail, horsemanship, and showmanship. She currently serves as a board director for the Texas Quarter Horse Association and is vice president of Region 9 Arabian Youth Association and is team captain for IEA. So she's growing up in a family of horse trainers, and horses have just been a really important part of her life. And I'm so excited to have her on the podcast and grateful she's coming on to talk about her experience and her mindset. And so I will share with everybody else who's listening that one of the reasons that I'm excited to talk with her today is that I saw her run at the NAAC the reining championships that go on with the futurity. My mouth gets full with all these letters. And it was a really wonderful run because she's riding her horse is getting a little strong on the bit, and she just doubled down on committing. She went for it. She sent it. It was beautiful, gorgeous stops, gorgeous run, and really wonderful score. But it was wonderful because I went, that has everything to do with her mindset and how she chose to react in that moment. And I said, there is so much people can learn here. So thanks for being here, Bella.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, why don't you take us through that run and just take us through what you were thinking about?
All right. So it's so cold during the futurity. I mean, it is freezing. Everybody's bundled up in jackets. I mean, all the horses are a little fresh that time. And I mean, really, I just went for it. I was just having a lot of fun. It's all really mental. I mean, you're on top of a 1,000-pound animal, you know? It can be scary, but I trust him and he trusts me. So it was a lot of fun, and he had fun. I had fun. It was just a great time.
Now, tell me, do you have any sort of mental routine that you like to do or anything? How do you prepare before you compete?
Yes, ma'am. So what I like to do is always have a good attitude. I mean, if you have a good attitude, that's just going to improve your run, improve how you show, and improve how your horse is going to ride, because your horse can feel whatever you're feeling, you know? So if you have a bad attitude, it's just not going to work out. So I always like to have a good attitude. And then I set my phone away. I keep it away. I at least an hour or two before I show. I mean, no distractions. And then right before I show, I go over with my dad because he's my trainer. Um, I go over like I'm in the arena. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to jog in, I'm going to walk, and then I'm going to pick up that lead. Okay. And I just talk about how I'm going to set him up and how I'm going to wait a little bit and then go for it, and then how I'm going to come back. And then I just go through every maneuver, like how I am in the arena and how I'm going to ride. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot whenever I show.
Yeah. Yeah, really just previewing and mentally rehearsing each of your maneuvers and exactly what you're going to do.
Yes, ma'am. That helps like so much, because when you don't do that, I like how I feel very like, what am I gonna do next? Like your nerves get in your head, and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But if you go through the steps, it kind of calms your nerves down. It just helps you prepare for every little detail. You're like, okay, so I know my horse is gonna take off a little bit over here. This is how I'm gonna react when he does that. And I think that helps a lot in my runs.
Yeah, I'm hearing you say you love to do some mental rehearsal for exactly what's going on. You're also planning ahead, having contingencies. If my horse kind of likes to do this, they all have their own little idiosyncrasies, and you already
Yes.
know what you're going to do, so you don't have to think about it. And then also just the ritual of having same thing over and over.
Yes, ma'am.
Get
That
you
helps a lot. Yeah.
Mhm. Wonderful. Now, so tell me a little bit too. When you're riding down the rundown and you're charging hard down, or your horse turns the corner and you turn the corner, and then they're already, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, they're already at like 2.5.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
like,
Yeah.
what have you done to help yourself get comfortable riding at speed? Because that's something I hear from a lot of riders, that really like opening up can be challenging.
Yes. So, I mean, I told it like my horse. I mean, I feel like every horse is really gonna do that. Take a hold of the bit a little bit around that corner. They already know that they're going down there and stopping. So,
Yeah.
uh, but I just like to relax, just let my body loose a little bit, and just ride with him, stay connected with him while you're going down there. um yeah, I mean, I just like to relax
Mhm.
going there, because if you tense up, then they're just gonna get tense up with you and then go for it, even more. So if you just relax and let your body just go with it, then feel like that helps a lot.
Yep. Wonderful. What do you do at home to stay connected with your horses?
um I work on a lot of maneuvers right before a show. I mean, whenever we're running our circles, just making him listen to me.
Yeah.
You know, just figuring out my horse, like, because I just got a new horse.
Mhm.
So, it's a new horse, new year, new beginning. So I just like to figure out how I'm gonna ride this horse now. And just like how I was with Corona right before the show, you just figure out how they're feeling
Mhm.
that time of the day or year, however they want to ride, you know.
Well, that's actually a really good
But
reminder.
yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about has to do with, you do ride a lot of different horses, especially even just with the IEA, the school competitions, or
Mhm.
switching between quarter horse reiners and Arabians. So, what sort of things do you do that help you shift from one horse to another, or one style and event to another?
Yes, man. It's also very mental. I mean,
Hmm.
for the IEA, you're riding a totally completely different horse every single time, and you just walk in a circle and you go show. I mean, you have no preparement. You don't know how that horse is going to act. So you kind of just have to trust how you are as a rider and how you can show that horse to that ability. Like, you just have to figure out how you can push that horse and how that horse is going to react. I mean, if you walk up there and you go to set up that lead and you use a little bit of stir and it jumps forward, then no more leg. So you just have to figure out in your mind. I mean, once you ride a bunch of horses throughout the years, you kind of figure out how you can ride each horse differently. And that's the same with like going from AQHA horses to Arabians. It is completely different. I mean, they act differently, but I like to ride them all the same, you know. You just have to flip a switch. That's how I think of it. Each horse is different, so you just have to learn how to do that.
I hear you saying that for you it's helpful to think of it like flipping a switch. And so you're saying I'm in Arab mode. I'm in raining mode. And so it's
Yes, ma'am.
almost like you've pre-set up whatever that program is, whatever that's going to be, that the raining program is like, we are loose, we are forward, we're going to be pick stopping. The Arab program is we're going to sit up a little bit differently, but
Yes. Uh-huh.
you've already laid out whatever, my words here, that program is. And
Mm-hmm.
so then you're just like, you can think of it like a program, like I don't mean this in a sort of almost like a costume or
Yes.
but like
Mm-hmm.
I'm stepping into this role, this costume,
Yes.
this
Mm-hmm.
program. These are the, traits that it means. And I just put that on and then we're going for it.
Yes. And it's also really helpful riding each horse whenever they're mine. For the IEA, it's completely different from when I show my own horse. Because during the summer, I go from my youth world or my youth nationals for the Arabs, and then I go home for a week, and then I go back for the AQHA youth world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm practicing on all my horses before those shows, getting them prepared. So it's kind of cool riding different horses and how you ride differently, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense for each horse.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's say one of my horses, you kind of want them a little bit more bridled. And then for the reiners, you want their head down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool watching yourself grow as a rider, riding different horses and figuring out how you can ride those different horses.
Yeah. Well, so for a lot of people, they don't have access to ride quite as many horses. So
Yes, ma'am.
what have you noticed? How has that improved or challenged you as a rider riding different horses? Because it's very
So,
different doing,
yes, ma'am.
a bunch versus just one.
Yes, ma'am. Um, I mean, riding different horses, you get to figure out how you ride as a rider and how you can ride those different horses. When you ride different horses, they all have different mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
They all act differently. So I think it's cool whenever you get to ride different horses, you can figure out how to put one horse, say one horse is you want to speed him up a little bit and the other horse you want to take it back, and then you have one horse that's in the middle. You can take a little bit from each horse and put it into that one horse in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's pretty cool, picking out different pieces on how you ride and putting into a horse.
Mm-hmm. Let me back up for just a minute because there probably are people listening who aren't familiar with IEA. So maybe just take a minute and explain what that is before we just keep dropping that acronym and they're not
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
what we're talking about.
So IEA is you draw a horse and you don't know what it like. They give you a little sheet that says ball spurs or row, one hand or two hands, and then
Mhm.
it gives you little side notes about that horse,
Okay.
but you don't know how that horse is really going to act. So you get on it and you walk a couple circles, and the handler, if they know about that horse, they'll try to tell you some of it about it, and then you just walk in and you go show. It's very different from showing your own horse
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, it's not yours. You've never ridden it. You don't know how it's going to act. So it's pretty cool because I learned so much from the IEA. Just being calm, you know,
Yeah.
because you don't know how that horse is going to react. I mean, you can't go in there and be like, woo, let's go, because that horse is just going to go or it's not going to go. So
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah, it sounds like that showing a variety of horses has actually helped your mindset because instead of, it's good and bad. They're just different experiences where when you have one horse, you can
Mhm.
feel, especially a horse you know very intimately, you can feel a lot of the weight of responsibility because you
Yes.
know that horse, you know them inside and out, you know their training, you know their weaknesses and their strengths. And so it feels like the responsibility is all on you as the rider to bring that out, right? And
Yes.
so if it's not a good run, it can be like, oh, that was all my fault or it was
Mhm.
terrible. But
Mhm.
obviously that can psych you out in half a second. And so
Yes.
feeling
Yes, ma'am.
like, because it's so helpful to have a great ride to be able to just take the pressure off. And so when
Mhm.
you're riding a lot of different horses, you're like, oh, I don't know this horse. I'm gonna have to trust that those buttons are installed. I'm
Yes.
just gonna do my best to buttons and smile. Like not in
Mhm.
a weird way, but just it helps, and so you get a lot of practice of just taking the pressure off because
Yes.
you
Mhm.
can't do anything about it.
Yes, and I think it's also helped me show my own horse a lot too with
Yeah.
the nerves, because I get nervous rather I'm showing my own horse or I'm not. But I've learned to kind of use those nerves to help me
Mhm.
instead of being like, I'm so scared, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I kind of use it as like, I'm ready for this, like I'm gonna go for it, like I'm excited. So I think that kind of also flipped a switch on how I showed too.
Mhm.
Because instead of being like scared nervous, I'm excited nervous, you know?
Yeah. That's a huge shift to really
Hmm.
make it, to really own that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I mean, whenever I first started showing, I was so scared. Little 8-year-old me going around the show pen. I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen, you know? But I feel like I've grown a lot on how to train my brain, on how to figure out how to get myself to do it.
Yeah, that's really cool. What is your favorite thing about competing in AQHA, AHA, and IEA? How do they compare?
Um, Let me see. How do they compare? They're all kind of the same. I mean, I love horses. I couldn't imagine my life without them. So I'm very blessed to be able to show in every single class I'm in.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't really see a difference in any of them, you know? I mean, the people in there are fantastic. They're so welcoming. I have so many friends in um, all the divisions. I couldn't see my life without them, you know? They're all kind of the same.
It's all just horses.
Yes, it's all just horses to me.
Do you have a favorite horse that you've competed with?
Oh,
I know, hard question.
that's a hard question. I mean, I love them all equally. I'm like a mom. I love all my children equally. But I think it was pretty cool to watch me and Corona grow.
Hmm.
The horse that I showed at the futurity, because I went to the futurity last year, and that was my first futurity. And we did good in the 13 and under. We won that. And I didn't do very good in the rookie, but that was also whenever I wasn't mentally there really.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it was pretty cool to go in there and do good in the rookie.
Mhm.
And I mean, that horse has taught me so much. How to ride, how to mentally prepare for them. He's just a cool horse. He was
That's
really
so
cool.
cool. So you did tell me that, so your dad is your trainer. Do you see that having a trainer as a parent, do you think that gives you an advantage or do you find that adds more pressure?
A little bit of both. I mean, it's my dad. He wants me to do good. My grandma's also my trainer, so I come from like a blood long line of trainers. So I think I do have some pressure on me, but I know it's for the best. They all just want me to have fun and ride to my best abilities. I
Yeah.
think it's also a little bit of an advantage because he wants me to do good and wants me to succeed in the reining. Um, but yeah, it's a little bit of both.
That sounds so normal. Oh, oh, man. Um, I'm going to ask a little bit of a sideways question too. So, do you have a pre-show pump-up song or playlist, or it sounds like you are totally like no phone, no nothing.
Yes, ma'am. So I like to listen to music like a couple hours before, but I cut off everything.
Oh.
I've learned that that helps me a lot because I get distracted very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So the only time I look at my phone is for my pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helps me a lot. But music does help me to stay focused. Whenever I'm writing, I like to listen to some music. Um, yeah, I got a good playlist that I like to listen to right before. But yeah, I cut off everything.
Okay. Well, okay. So let me ask you, I can also pick your brain about this too. When you are in the warm up or when you are in the ring, how much coaching do you have at that point? Are you really like you're dialed in just you and the horse, or are you still getting a lot of coaching at that point?
So, what me and my dad like to do is I warm up my horse. We get him, all nice and clean right before I go in. But I like to sit there on my horse and I kind of show him what I'm going to do in the ring, sort of. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick up, move his hip over, and then I'm going to kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells me, he's like, okay, so whenever you go around the corner, you're going to do this. So I think that helps me prepared, but it's not like whenever I'm in the ring, he doesn't coach me a lot on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he'll whistle and stuff and cheer me on,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's mostly me out there.
Yep. No, that's great. I love to hear how people are doing things, and I love to like ask the nitty-gritty too,
Mhm.
because it's one of the things that I mean, it's working for you, but I would have guessed that it's working for you because I've noticed kind of a surprising number of people who get coaching while they're trying to ride their pattern.
Mhm.
And I think that we absolutely have a problem with overcoaching and
Mhm.
people are doing more poorly than they could if they would just ride their pattern.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I
when
think a
someone,
little too much information would
yeah,
kind of stumble me.
it's too much. You're there. The phrase that I get is when the time to perform has come, the time to prepare has passed. Like, just
Yes.
go
I
do it.
totally understand that. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, overcoaching is a thing. And so when I
Mhm.
always love to ask, like, so how much coaching are you doing?
Mhm.
How does this
Mhm.
feed into what I'm expecting or not? So, yeah. And I think that it's just encouraging to you've done the training, you've done the practice, go out and ride, just do your horse.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
All right. And then, so when you're at the show,
Mhm.
do you have a go-to snack or a go-to drink at a horse show?
Pickles. I love pickles.
I'm a
I
pickle lover
literally
too, so I support that.
People always hate on pickles, but I'm like, they
How
are
can
the
you hate?
best snack.
They're crunchy, refreshing. You
Mhm.
get electrolytes.
Yep, exactly. Um, so let me think. Dr. Pepper and pickles. It's probably like the worst food choice ever, but I mean, that's what keeps me going, so
That's a good one. I love that though, especially the pickles. I'm a pickle stan.
yeah, me and my friend, we always have like a big jar of pickles at the shows that we share. It's
Oh,
amazing.
that's fun. I love that. Well, let me ask you, okay, so if you could train with any legendary equestrian for a week, who would it be?
Ooh, probably Dan Huss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a great guy and he knows how to train a horse.
Yeah.
He's great. I love listening to him coach his riders. Um, he's helped me one time, and I mean, I've learned so much from it. He's
Mm-hmm.
such a cool guy. Yeah, and he's great coaching. He knows how to train a person how to
Yeah.
ride,
And that's
which I think is really
absolutely
cool.
a very important skill because training the horse to do the maneuvers and training the rider is not the same thing.
Mm-mm. No, you can
Absolutely
get a
not the
horse to
same
do it,
thing.
but I don't know if you can get a person to do it.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Is there one piece of advice that, somebody has shared with you that's really stuck with you?
Go for it. That's what my dad always tells me. He's like, just go for it. I mean, what do you have to lose? Just
Mhm.
go. Which I think it helps me a lot too. It's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. That's kind of how I did at the futurity. Was I was like, what else am I gonna do? We're already here. I'm just gonna go.
Mhm.
Which I think is a lot of fun. It kind of builds your adrenaline too. It's like, whew, I'm gonna go fast. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, it really helps both get you like amped up to be excited to,
Yes.
to ride, and it also, in many ways, it kind of takes the pressure off because you're like, yeah, I'm going
Yes.
for it. It's like
Yep.
not about it being perfect. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because sometimes some people like thinking, oh, I want to just kind of cruise to a 70. I want it to be easy peasy, calm, low pressure, just
Mhm.
cruise around, and like that's the mindset that helps them take the pressure off. And other
Mhm.
people are like, no, we just got to go for it. Like,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
if, I don't know, if we
Exactly.
fall off, whatever, but like
Yep.
5 spins, who cares? But, but it's like a different way of getting to that
Yes.
same sort of
Mhm.
feeling of like, we're just doing it. We're having a good time.
Yep. Yep. I think that's what helps me a lot. It's just like, hey, let's just do it. I know I can do it. I know my horse can do it. So let's just add them together and go.
But even there, I think that's a really, I don't know, just an insightful like little nugget, peek into your brain of I know we can do it. I know I can do it. I know my horse can do it. And so
Mhm.
the other thing that that's doing, I'm just pointing out for, well, for you and anybody listening, is that you just abstracted your results from your identity, where you've said, I know I can do it. I know my horse can do it. So whatever our score says, like I'm still good. My horse is
Mhm.
still good. This is still going to be great. If it turns out great, if it's, not our best run, yeah, like we'll just do another one. No big
Yep.
deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. There's so many things like that where I love doing these conversations and just hearing what people will say because there's so many things that people don't realize how much just a certain perspective is so helpful. And so,
Mhm.
having you share that I know that that's going to help somebody just to hear that. Okay, so let me ask you, what is one of the hardest challenges that you faced in competition? And so that can be mental, physical, um, just some like a big challenge that you had over the last few years that you've overcome.
um, I think it's like either right before the show or in the warm up or like practicing right before I show. I think I kind of get a little down on myself and I'm like, oh, these horses are really good that I'm riding with right now. And I'm like,
Yeah, you look
"Ooh."
around.
Yeah, and you look around and you're like, whoa, that horse can stop or whoa, that horse can turn. Um, and I think I kind of do that and like I'll look back on videos. I'm like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. And I'm like, well, we're already here. I'm just gonna show to my best abilities and just go. You get through the pattern and show off what I can, you
Mhm,
know. And as long as I know that my horse was good and I rode good, that's all that really matters.
mhm. So I would almost rephrase some of that as like one of the hardest challenges was not getting psyched out by other people in the warm-up pen and just seeing the caliber of competition, and
Yes.
two, learning to reframe like your show results from we're winning or we're getting a certain score to like did we do a good job? Did we kind
Mhm.
of setting your own standards and comparing it to yourself as opposed to
Mhm.
external?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
that's really cool. Well, that's a great reminder. So a lot of people, I know a lot of writers, probably most writers, really struggle with the warm up because, going to a show is not the same as writing at home. And
Yes.
to the
Mhm.
extreme, we have the IEA competition where you
Mhm.
get like, your index card of like, my horse doesn't like pokey spurs or just like
Yeah.
good
Uh-huh.
luck.
Yeah,
And then you
exactly.
walk around once and go in. We've got that at the extreme versus the breed shows where you at least get theoretically some small area to
Yes.
walk around. So, how have you developed a warm-up routine that works for you?
Um, I kind of just float my horse around. It depends on the where I'm at, really. Um, if there's a arena that I can go in, run a circle, then I will, just to
Mhm.
see how he's feeling that time. Because, I mean, when you show, you're either showing late at night or early in the morning. That's how I always end up. I either show like the crack of dawn or like so late. So, if I'm showing late, then I'll run a circle
Mhm.
before I go show. Have some time to prepare, ride my horse around a little bit, lope him a couple circles in that warm up ring right by the arena,
Mhm.
stop and back him up, make sure that he's listening to me, just kind of get him connected with me.
Mhm.
Um, and then I just go through the pattern over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hear you saying a big part of that is just making sure you're mentally, you're connected with your horse and then, physically muscles are warmed up. You do a quick check-in, but it's
Mm-hmm.
mental check-in is most important. And then you're mentally rehearsing your pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yes.
how much do you find that you're riding outside of the warm-up, right? Some people love, like, they're out there doing the midnight rides, and other people are just like, yeah, pull my horse out 30 minutes, and then, that's good enough. Where do you kind
I'm
of fall?
kind of in the middle. Honestly, whenever the arena's less crowded,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to ride my horse at least like a day before I show. And then if I show at the beginning of the week and then at the end of the week, I'm getting my horse out and just loping it around at least, trying to get him out, keep him moving, keep him thinking,
Mm-hmm.
not just sitting in his stall. But I do school my horse right before I show, like the day before prior,
Mm-hmm.
when I get a chance in that arena, just so he can see the arena, so I can see the arena, find my points where I need to be looking at, and stuff like that.
Do you have a favorite venue to show at?
So for the NRHA, I would say Oklahoma City, either Oklahoma City or Tulsa. I
Mhm.
mean, that's where all of our big shows are.
Yeah.
And then for the AHA, the Arabians, I love showing at Ocala, WEC, at the
Mm-hmm.
World Equestrian Center. It's so beautiful there. I want to start going to NRHA shows there, but they don't host that many, so I don't think they have any there. Do they?
I I don't know about Rainy. I know they have some
They have quarter
like
horse
yeah, I
shows.
was gonna say they have quarter
Uh-huh.
horse ones because I
Yeah.
was hearing from a client was telling me she's planning to go to shows there because she's has
Hmm.
friends who are like, great, you have to go there. I love this
Yeah.
facility.
Yes.
So
It's beautiful. We go there for our regionals, one of
mm,
our regionals. It's so much fun. Like just being there makes it's literally horse girl heaven. It's beautiful. I love just taking my horse out on trails because they have a bunch of trails there and riding in that outdoor arena by the hotel, like the big hotel, how it has that arena. We have a couple classes in there that we get to show in. It's just so much fun.
oh yeah. Oh, that's so fun. So I've asked you, like, you are showing in a lot of different associations and classes. Do you have a favorite discipline or class to show in?
Probably the reining.
Probably the
I
rain.
like going fast. That's just my deal. I love going fast. Um, and then the ranch riding's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, probably ranch and reining are my two favorite
Yeah.
classes.
Have you ever had a show day disaster that turned into a really great learning experience?
Let's see. So I show one of my horses in trail,
Mm-hmm.
and the day before, I was stressing out. I was like crying in the show, in the warm up, because they open up the trail course that you can practice the
Mm-hmm.
day before. Um, because I wasn't setting up my horse correctly, and then she was just being lazy that day. And like we're both just very out of it. And I'm like crying and she's tired. And uh my trainer, she was like, because we have at my grandma's barn, we have 3 trainers there.
Mhm.
And one of them was like, it's okay, like you got this, you know your horse can do it. And she just gave me like a very good speech,
Mhm.
which kind of helped me prepare. And then I went in there and showed, and we did great. So I think it's kind of nice having somebody there to kind of tell you, like, it's okay, but also, like, suck it up at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Because I need very, like, these are the things, and that's what you're going to do sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think she taught me a lot on how to mentally prepare and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you have a really memorable positive ride?
Yes. Probably it would either be one show at my nationals for the Arabs. I got reserve in one of my classes with one of the horses that I've worked like so hard on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was his first ever nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And um, he was still a baby. And I thought it was pretty cool because I was like crying. I was so happy. I mean, I was so proud of him. He was so good because our class had like 26 in it.
Wow.
And it was in Oklahoma. And he was so good. He acted like he's done this like 1,000 times before. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then at the futurity, when I won the rookie too, that was pretty memorable. I won't forget that. It was amazing. It was so much fun.
That's so cool. I just had a question pop in my head that I thought, you've been talking all about getting on these different horses at, IEA and all this other stuff. And I thought, I have to ask you, what is your best strategy for getting on an unknown horse and riding it well in just a few minutes?
Um, I think just staying positive, because it depends on if you're the first person to ride that horse
Mm-hmm.
or if you've ridden it before, or like if somebody's ridden it before you.
Yeah.
Uh,
How
I
many
mean,
times a day might a horse get ridden?
it depends on the show, really.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably like 2 times right
Okay.
before.
So not like five, but
No, no,
like,
no, no, no.
but it may have
Yeah.
become the pattern already.
Yes. So they're probably still like anticipating it's like, oh, we're gonna change here. You know. Um, I think that's kind of like you have to learn how you ride,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, and how you know how to ride and how you can show off that horse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's tough going and showing some random horse that you've never shown before. Because I mean, you don't know what they're gonna do. Um, but I think it's a lot of fun. I like it. I like the adrenaline of getting on a random horse and going showing.
Yep. Now, is that just Western disciplines for IEA, or is that, or is
There
that
is
in
in
Western?
English. I think there is in English, but I don't do it. I just stick to the Western.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you just a little bit, not totally mental things, but in terms of with the Texas Quarter Horse Association and then the Arab Youth Association, what is the behind the scenes of what does that mean when you're, serving in that way?
So I just got on the TQHA.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't done a whole lot on there yet, but I'm so excited. I mean, one of my friends, she's been on it for a while, and she's like, "It's so much fun." She's like, "You have to do it." So I was like, "All right," I was like, "I'll sign up." But the Arab, I just get to spend a lot of time with the youth,
Mm-hmm.
um, and with a bunch of kids that are new. I get to show them around and show them how fun it is, how to, because it's a lot of fun. I mean, at the youth shows, you're all with just kids, and you get to meet so many new people. And I think that's really special.
That is really special. No, that's really cool. I know that um many years ago, I grew up in Washington State where there's a lot of Arab stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the Arab Youth Nationals for their judging competition.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And so just it was kind of they did a really good job with youth stuff because it was being involved with like there's a lot of Arab stuff going on and then
Mhm.
opportunities for youth to do stuff. So it really like just helps keep just having fun and wanting to keep going. And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I learned
Yes,
a
ma'am.
ton. I learned so
Yes.
much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. They put on a lot of good stuff. I know for AQHA, their world, they always have an ice cream bar every day, and then they have a candy bar, and then they have a dance. That's a lot of fun that me and my friends go to. And I like how they put all of Texas in one spot.
Hmm.
So they have like all of Texas, all of Arizona, all of Washington, and you don't know who you're going to be stalled next to besides like who you're taking with your barn. So I've met so many people just being stalled by them, which I think is a it's really cool. You just get to meet a bunch of different people.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So with all of this showing, do you have a bucket list horse show event you want to attend or compete in?
I want to go to the NRBC one year. I haven't gone there in a while. The last time I went showed at the NRBC was whenever it was still in Katy,
Hmm.
um, and I was in short stirrup. So I think it would be fun to show there. And then I don't know. I'm really excited for AQHA Youth World. I mean, that's one of my favorite shows. So
No, I love to hear that. I love to just keep like a running tally of places and shows that people are like, this was just fun. It was
yeah.
great. It's like
Mhm.
go to shows at WET, go to, AQHA Youth World, or I've heard that AQHA Select is also like tons of fun.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
I've heard that
I
too.
just have a running tally of like fun shows, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I
Yeah.
want to go to these ones. That's
Yes.
it. Oh, that's really cool. Um, well, let me bring it back around to everyday training because so we've talked a bunch about shows and all these different types of showing because showing is absolutely not the same thing as your everyday training. So
Yes, ma'am.
talk to me about how there's really a couple questions here. One is making the shift from everyday training on, a horse that you're like, okay, we've been schooling this, now we're showing this maneuver.
Mhm.
And then I think the second question would be, what do you do to help keep your, motivation up and just keep a good attitude during everyday training?
So I think whenever we are showing and we come back from a show, we give them some time off,
Mhm.
because we push them hard, and then we'll start riding them again, and it just really depends on the horse. Um, like one of them, we have to like we can just lope around, and then like a couple weeks before, that's whenever we start tuning them up
Mhm.
and start schooling them. Um, during their break will like run a medium fast circle just to make sure that they're still um, coming back to us and listening. But yeah, we right before a show, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before, we'll start writing them and schooling them and making them tune up.
Mhm. So, okay, so I hear you answering the part about being at home where you have a lot of for finished horses, they have a
Mhm.
lot of just flex time, let's call it, where
Mhm.
you're keeping them kind of legged up, but you're not overly working them, overly stressing them. You're
Mhm.
assuming they know their job, and then a couple weeks out, you'll really tune them up. Um,
Yes.
and so that probably helps keep you fresh too, if you're not
Mhm.
feeling, it's absolutely unrealistic, but somehow we think that we have to be at 100 all the time.
Yes.
Instead of being like,
Yes.
no, we don't want to drop below
Yes.
50, but like, you can take
Exactly.
time off. You can have
Uh-huh.
rides where you just lope around. You can,
Yes.
like, that's
Exactly.
totally a requisite part of the process.
Yeah. They're like after a show, in between shows, I just like, kind of long trot them a little bit and then just lope them around, let them rest.
Mhm.
But just keep them in shape and
Yeah.
thinking about what they're doing still.
Yeah. All right. So that sounds like a great part of just kind of the your mindset at home, we're just kind of keeping them healthy and happy. And
Exactly.
that's really the mindset. And so I think there's a lot of people who can probably benefit from that, where just
Hmm.
keep them happy and healthy. Like,
Yes.
don't worry about over schooling it all the time.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then what do you do that helps you shift from, you know, happy and healthy at home to show mode?
I think it's like when you know that you're about to show, when a show's coming up and you're like getting excited for it, and then you see all the posts on your Instagram just being like 10 more days until the show and then stuff like that. I think that kind of gets you like, okay, let's go. We need to start getting our act together, sort of thing. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it kind of just when you're like, okay, let's run a circle, let's see how you are, and then we'll start schooling you. I think that helps a lot.
Helps a lot. So I hear
Yeah.
you saying that it's for you, a lot of the shift is not even, some of it is what you said about kind of stepping into your, you know, program or
Hmm.
costume for that class. And some of it is just that, the couple weeks out when you start asking more from the horse,
Hmm.
starting to basically tune yourself up as well.
Yes.
And that's kind of that, like, it's almost like a couple weeks of slowly ramping it up. So then by the time you
Hmm.
get to the show, you're ready to go.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
No, and that's great because that's something I think people can overlook, and really think like, oh, I just have to snap my fingers. And there
Mm-hmm.
are people who work like that, absolutely. But there's a
Hmm.
lot of people where they're like, well, it's really over the 2 weeks prior, I get like 2% closer every
Yeah,
time. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, okay. And so
yeah.
you're like, knowing that that's an option is really helpful to be like, oh, yeah, because some people think, oh, I can't snap my fingers. It's what do I do? Instead of, oh, well, maybe you just get a little closer every day for 2 weeks. Try that. See how that works for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what show are you preparing for next? Are you this weekend?
So we have a show in March, but I'm just taking we might go to that show, we don't know yet.
Hmm.
But I think the next week show would either be Oklahoma for AQHA World
Hmm.
or Tulsa Hunter Decks. I don't know which one comes first. It's one of the two.
I don't know off the top of
It's
my head either.
yeah. There's so many shows.
He'll
But
just
yeah, we're
he'll tell you when to get in the trailer and then he'll just
yep.
keep going.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. That's how it is during the summer. It's very go go go. Compare going with the Arabs and the quarter horses.
Oh
I
man.
mean, we're always on the road and we're always in Oklahoma. That's like our spot, apparently, I guess. We have so many shows in Oklahoma City. It's crazy.
Oh man. Uh, So I hear you saying by not saying is that you thoroughly enjoy just loping around in the winter and low pressure rides because there's a go season for you and then there's
Yes.
an
Mm-hmm.
off season and you're like, it's the off season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get like go see
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
That's good. It's good to just, yeah, rest when you can. And yeah. What advice would you have for other youth riders who are starting to step up to show it? Let's say it's their first AQHA world, the youth world.
Um, just have fun. I mean, meet a lot of people, venture out, go talk to people. Because I think that also kind of helped my confidence
Hmm.
was having people there supporting me too, you know, having friends there. And then also just have fun. I mean, what is there to lose, really? It's a lot of fun. Like whoever shows there is always having a blast. So,
So fun. And then what advice would you have for all the grown-ups that you see? What do you see people doing that you wish you could tell them to do differently?
just don't get nervous. I mean, I see a lot of people like very shaken up by going into the arena, and I'm like, it's okay, just like relax.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I see a lot of people getting very nervous, and one of my trainers, it's like a common thing around our barn. is a good luck punch, and you just punch them in the leg right before you go and show, and that kind of just like takes your mind off of nerves and kind of focus on it. You're like, oh shoot, like she just punched me in the leg, sort of thing.
Gosh.
Uh, but yeah, a good luck punch always helps the nerves.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. Oh my gosh. I can see that. That'd be very distracting.
Yeah, yeah, it's very distracting, but it helps a lot, and it kind of just like gets you giggling and happy. So
Well, I love that. And I'm glad that everybody knows now that if you're at a show and you're nervous, just know that I'm sure Bella at least is cheering you
yes,
on and wishing you
yes,
nothing but the best.
yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has just been my pleasure, and
I've had so much fun talking to you.
looking forward to meeting you in person. And
Yes, ma'am, I would love that.
oh, thank you so much for coming on. I know that folks are going to get so much out of just hearing. Like, I know it probably seems so normal and natural to you because you're you and you're like, well, it just is. But
Yes, ma'am.
so it's really gonna blow somebody's mind when they're hearing things and they're gonna go, wait, what? And just, and so I'm just so grateful you could come on today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
Well, enjoy riding all of the horses and good luck at all of
Thank
your
you.
upcoming competitions.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bella. How good was that conversation with Bella? I love how she talked about using visualization to stay focused because that is one of the biggest mental skills that separates great riders from the rest. If you're thinking, I need to get better at this, then you've got to check out my free training, Ride Like a Pro Masterclass, where I break down how to train your mind like the best riders in the world so you can show up confident, focused, and ready to perform. Check the show notes for the link to access it. And if you loved this conversation, I have something big coming soon. My Mental Gym for Equestrians next cohort starts in 1 month, where we take everything we talked about today and turn it into daily training that rewires your mind for confidence and peak performance. Message me at Nicole Burnett Mental Coach on Instagram for more details. But for now, grab your free training from the show notes and start riding like a pro today.